Caitlin Dever, who joined the cast of Godzilla x Kong 3 back in January, recently confirmed that filming is now fully underway in Queensland, Australia. They've been prepping for this since the beginning of the year, and just recently the crew finally kicked off full-on filming, so everything's rolling right on schedule, exactly how Warner's and Legendary planned it. The movie already has an official release date locked in for March 26, 2027, so the team's got a ton of time to dive into post-production. All of this suggests that the studios are fully confident in the project and moving forward without delays. Another big thing to pay attention to is the script. The fact that filming kicked off this early pretty much confirms that producers gave the final story a green light without needing major rewrites. This time around, the screenplay is in the hands of Dave Callaham, the guy who worked on the first Godzilla in 2014 and also helped bring Marvel's Shang-Chi to life. Callaham rarely gives interviews, and so far he's stayed completely silent about what Godzilla x Kong 3 is actually about, which just cranks up the intrigue. The only real tease we've gotten came from Adam Wingard, director of the last two crossovers. He let it slip that the script is already finished and sitting at the studio, and hinted that the next chapter might be way more Godzilla-centric. Because Godzilla vs. Kong tried to keep things balanced between the two titans, and the new empire definitely leaned into Kong's side of the story, but now it's looking like the spotlight is swinging back to Godzilla. Many viewers have been saying for a while now that the new empire basically felt like a second solo Kong movie. He had more screen time, more major scenes, and the emotional core of the story really revolved around him. Even the battle with Scar King was shown mostly through the world of the apes, not through the larger monsterverse mythology. But all of that seems like it's about to shift in the third part. From what we're seeing so far, the new villain is going to be directly connected to Godzilla with his origins, and possibly others of his kind. In this context, one name keeps coming up as a potential major villain, Destoroyah. He first showed up in 1995's Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, and quickly became one of the franchise's most terrifying and iconic enemies. In the original canon, he was born from microscopic organisms mutated from exposure to the oxygen destroyer, the same weapon that killed the first Godzilla back in the 1954 movie. These organisms merged into a massive creature capable of regeneration, transformation, and large-scale destruction. Destoroyah is not just a villain, he's a being directly born from human actions and Godzilla's own legacy. Monsterverse has already reimagined several classic Toho characters, both visually and narratively, and Destoroyah feels like a natural next step. There's a bunch of cool ways Legendary could adapt him into the monsterverse. Instead of sticking with the original Oxygen Destroyer origin, they might tie his creation to the aftermath of battles from previous movies, like the side effects of Apex or Monarch activities, or even the emergence of new life forms from Hollow Earth. This could give Destoroyah a fresh motivation and a deeper connection to Monsterverse's lore. It would especially make sense if the studios really do plan to make the third movie darker and Godzilla-centered. But Legendary has shown caution in using Toho's monsters. More often than not, they create brand new titans inspired by the classics, but with different names and origins. That might be due to rights issues, or it could be a deliberate creative choice to build a distinct lore. So even if a monster that clearly draws from Destoroyah shows up in GXK3, it's totally possible it'll be an original kaiju with a new name, a different origin, but with recognizable traits. Overall, the movie is being directed by Grant Sputore, and most people probably won't recognize his name. So far, his notable project is the sci-fi drama I Am Mother for Netflix, which got mixed but generally positive reviews and stood out for its vibe and concept. But it was a small-scale, contained story, not a blockbuster by any means. That's why some Monsterverse fans are feeling uneasy. Handing such a massive project to a relatively inexperienced director seems risky. On the flip side, the very fact that Legendary gave Sputore the job might signal something different. Maybe they are intentionally leaning towards something more grounded and serious. Also, the return of Dave Callaham as the writer could support that theory. His involvement might hint at a tonal shift back toward the darker and more realistic vibe we saw in the first Godzilla. That movie captured a strong sense of catastrophe, where giant monsters weren't just creatures to cheer for or against. They were forces of nature, embodying the absolute devastation and chaos that comes with them. That sense of realism, the feeling that humanity was truly helpless in the face of such colossal threats, really set the tone. Now compare that to the new Empire, which, while still epic, leaned much more into the realm of an action blockbuster. It was fun, but some fans feel like it strayed a bit too far from the raw apocalyptic energy that the first movies originally brought. That's why rumors about the third crossover bringing back darker visuals and a heavier atmosphere are actually being welcomed. It's not about going full-on gritty realism again, but a tonal shift towards something a bit more mature could be exactly what the franchise needs right now. But for now, all of this is just rumors. Filming has only just kicked off, and absolutely nothing about the plot has been confirmed yet. Honestly, knowing Warner Brothers, they might just stick to their usual strategy. Deliver a big, loud, visually insane crowd pleaser without getting too deep into atmosphere or storytelling nuance. It's kind of their thing. The casting situation is also worth noting. As of now, the only actor officially confirmed to return from the previous films is Dan Stevens as Trapper. There's still no word on anyone else, not even Rebecca Hall, who played Dr. Andrews, arguably the lead human character in the last two crossovers. Same for Alexander Skarsgård. It's still possible they might show up, especially in smaller roles that could be filmed in just a few weeks. Scenes like that could work perfectly as connective tissue, little narrative bridges tying this new chapter back to the previous films without demanding much screen time or scheduling from the actors. Everything points to the third movie being a direct sequel to The New Empire. While there might be a small time jump, the story is most likely going to pick up right where the last one left off. The ending of The New Empire left a lot of threads hanging, and it makes total sense to carry those forward, especially with the next movie supposedly shifting focus back to Godzilla. That finale clearly reset the power structure of the monsterverse. Kong is now officially the king of the Hollow Earth. He's no longer a lone warrior. He's a leader, responsible not just for himself, but for a small, tight-knit army of giant apes. His team now includes Shimo and Zuko. The bond between Kong and Zuko could even serve as the foundation for a Son of Kong spin-off, which has been rumored for years. Meanwhile, Godzilla has taken on the role of Earth's surface protector. His arc feels like it's come full circle. From being a threat to humanity to becoming its silent guardian, he's now a planet-wide Titan sentinel. Kong rules below, Godzilla protects above. So the next step has to be a villain powerful enough to kill Godzilla, Kong, Shimo, and an entire tribe of apes. This has to be a global, maybe even planetary level danger. That's where all the theories start to make a lot of sense. It's not just fan speculation. The classic Toho universe already featured kaijus with extraterrestrial origins, so there's nothing stopping Legendary from heading in the same direction. Imagine some ancient being waking up somewhere out in deep space, or a system reacting to the energy surges coming from the Hollow Earth. Suddenly, something's headed for Earth. Maybe a massive asteroid, a biomechanical ship, or even a whole swarm of Titans. Either way, it's not something Godzilla can take on solo. So Kong and his team rise up, ready to throw down beside him. That's when the real Titan war kicks off. This feels like the natural evolution of the monsterverse. With every new movie, the franchise has pushed to go bigger and more epic. Legendary clearly understands that each chapter needs to raise the stakes. So what could this new villain actually look like? There's really two directions Legendary could go. One option is a collective threat, maybe a team of evil kaijus from another planet or dimension working together, or they could take the more classic route with one single, ridiculously powerful ancient being. It could be a reimagined Destoroyah, or even a brand new Titan inspired by the Toho monsters but adapted to the Legendary lore. Right now, Monsterverse is kind of balancing between both ideas. On one hand, there's a clear temptation to launch into space. On the other, there's still so much left to explore in the Hollow Earth, from the Titan's ancient history to the ruins of forgotten civilizations. Both directions have huge potential, and either one could easily anchor the next chapter. But for now, with filming just getting started, there's basically no solid info out there. Still, it won't be long before the usual leaks start rolling with set photos, concept arts, and insider scoops. That's when we'll finally start to piece together what Godzilla x Kong 3 is really about. Stay tuned.